If you've ridden the Haunted Mansion at Walt Disney World, you might recall that your ghost host at one point shoots off the fact that the mansion features 999 happy haunts, but that there's always room for 1,000. He even lets you know that you can make final arrangements at the end of the tour if you want to be that lucky one. But really, would you want to? How miserable would it be to share a mansion with 999 ghosts? How crowded is the Haunted Mansion? Now look, I'm gonna be honest and upfront here, there's no one single and easy answer. I set out looking for an answer and somehow ended up with even more questions, all of which I'll go over. But I don't like burying answers in videos, so let me start off with the best summary I can come up with. It's gonna be a pretty miserable time no matter what. So we know that with you, the viewer, hypothetically deciding to answer this Craigslist ad for a 1,000th roommate at the Haunted Mansion means there will be 1,000 haunts. That part's easy. However, what we don't know is how big of a space we're working with. Do we measure the show building for the ride? Do we just measure the facade? Or do we measure one of the multiple real-life inspirations for the mansion? Well, folks, the answer is yes, because I did the math for all of them. Oh, and if you're wondering where the Eddie Murphy Haunted Mansion comes into play here, it doesn't. Let's start with the worst one, the facade of the mansion. The footprint for it measures at about 2,450 square feet, with 2 floors giving us around 4,900 square feet of space. Let's call it an even 5,000. At 1,000 occupants, that's 5 square feet of space per ghost. That's just enough space to stand shoulder to shoulder with everyone. How'd you like to do that for the rest of your afterlife? Now, if we expand that measurement to include the actual show building, it gets a little better. The entire show building and facade come out to around 44,200 square feet, which gives each ghost 44.2 square feet of living space. That's a little over 6.5 feet by 6.5 feet. So maybe you won't have a claustrophobic panic attack, if ghosts can have that, but also consider that from everything we see in the Haunted Mansion, including the fake doors, it's a home with about 31 rooms. That means whatever room you walk or float into, there's an average of 30 to 32 ghosts in it. You know that feeling when you have a really long, rough day and you get home from work and you just need to have some time and silence to process life? Not at the mansion. As for real buildings, the Haunted Mansion, like many projects at the Disney parks, draws its inspiration from more than one source. The Harry Packer Mansion in Jim Thorpe, Pennsylvania is often cited as the visual inspiration for the building. It's even mentioned by name in the official book on the subject. And if you look at the photos, the style is definitely there. However, there's another mansion that is even closer to the Haunted Mansion, and that is the Rathbone Estate in New York. I mean, look at that. It's the spitting image of the Haunted Mansion. And it's called the Rathbone Estate, which is like, it just sounds haunted. It was built in the early 1940s on a 75-acre plot of land just south of Albany. That detail is important. Interesting side note, but Rathbone had many children, and among them was a son named Henry. Henry Rathbone would grow up to join the Union Army during the Civil War, and after the war, Major Rathbone was invited to see a play at Ford's Theater with President Lincoln and First Lady Mary Todd Lincoln. He would end up being present at the assassination of President Lincoln. He attempted to apprehend the assassin, John Wilkes Booth, but was wounded by Booth in the process. That has nothing to do with having too many ghost roommates, but I thought it was pretty interesting. Anyway, back to the mansion. There's a book from 1956 that happens to contain the floor plan for the house. It comes in at just under 4,000 square feet across 13 rooms. That's 4 square feet per ghost and nearly 76 ghosts in every room. So I take it back. That's actually worse than the ride facade. I even take back calling it a mansion. Sure, 13 rooms, but how can you call any home a mansion if it can't comfortably house 1,000 ghosts, you know what I mean? When it comes to the inside of the Haunted Mansion, the commonly cited inspiration is the Winchester House in San Jose, California. It's a 24,000 square foot mansion with 160 rooms. If you want to learn more about the really wild history of that mansion, I suggest checking out Offhand Disney's video after this that goes more in depth into the real-life inspirations of the Disney Haunted Mansions. At 24,000 square feet, that's 24 square feet per ghost and 6 to 7 ghosts per room. not as bad. I mean, I know people in New York willing to pay $1,200 a month for that sort of living situation. Now, if you've ridden the Haunted Mansion more than once, you might be thinking, but Rob, not all of the ghosts in the Haunted Mansion are inside the actual mansion. There's that whole graveyard scene filled with ghosts. Well, you're right. That changes a lot because it tells us the Haunted Mansion ghosts aren't bound to the building itself. That's where the Rathbone Estate's 73 acres really comes in handy. Assuming the ghosts are just bound to the property, that means every ghost at the Rathbone Mansion would have around 3,180 square feet of their own space. For a sense of scale, that's more room than an average home in the United States. But that one consideration opened up a slew of new questions. Does that mean the majority of the 1,000 ghosts have to just exist outside all the time? Do ghosts have to worry about the elements? I guess not, but is that comfortable? And another thing, the ghost host says 999 happy haunts. He doesn't say 999 happy ghosts. What's a haunt? Do those blinking eyes on the wallpaper count as haunts? What about all the moving objects? Are they haunted or are they just controlled by invisible ghosts? If I hand in my death certificate, do I get to keep being me or am I at risk of being assigned an eternity as a floating trombone? Because if that's how this works, I have to throw all these numbers away. Do we count the animated corpses? I mean, look at this guy. He got the real short end of the stick and spends forever awake in a coffin. Though he's definitely getting more privacy than all the other ghosts in the mansion, so at least he's got that. Also, can't ghosts just phase through each other? Is that a thing? Because then you could, in theory, have all 1,000 ghosts sharing one space. But is that comfortable? I mean, I never liked being too close to a stranger on the subway, so I can't imagine an eternity being phased through somebody. The answer to all this is that I don't know, and all of these questions do nothing but destroy any purpose those numbers once had. So I suppose if there's one takeaway from all this, besides me having too much time on my hands, it's that even though the ghost host will offer it time after time, day after day, year after year, think twice before volunteering to join those 999 happy haunts. They're probably not as happy as you think.
Hey, Miss Silly Bird.